Welcome to the Energy On Show. This is the channel where everything revolves around your life energy, because measuring and managing your life energy is the key to a really outstanding life. My name is Cornelia Kavan, and today I have a very special guest on the Energy On Show, the outstanding JFab. Welcome, JFab.
Oh my God, thank you so much for such a warm welcome, Cornelia. Thank you to you. Thank you everybody for watching us. I'm really excited to be here. And guys, I have to compliment you for your great taste in following Cornelia.
Oh, thank you so much, JFab. And, I'm quite sure there's some people, maybe only few, who don't know JFab. But she's a personal PR strategist, and she helps entrepreneurs to find their breakthrough idea and to make really an impact in the world. And that's what we all need right now. And JFab has her, she has a 15 years experience in working for really well-known brands like Fiat, Peugeot, and Singapore Airlines. And now she's sharing all her experiences and magic in her personal PR Facebook group, and she also has her own show, the personal PR show. So if you really want to get the power hacks from JFab, just connect with her on Facebook and also on YouTube. On top of that, she is really also not recognized as a global super connector, and she built communities offline and online all over the world. And that's the reason why we are here today, or that's why I invited JFab, because, if it really comes to the end, the only thing that counts in our lives are our relationships. And it's not how many we are having, it's more the quality of our relationships, with whom are we connecting, and do these people really care about us, and do we also care about them? And because, as you know, all our relationships are just energy, and we feel that because when we spend people over time with really great people, they just give us a lot of energy, and we feel kind of energized. But on the other side, there are also, people or energy vampires that drain our energy. And so, Jessica, I'm quite sure you don't grew up and saying, I want to be a global super connector. How did you get started to, connect with people? Can you take us in this moment?
Yes, but I have to admit, I have to announce that actually I did. I wanted to be a global super connector from age 3 or 4, probably.
Wow, so cool.
I didn't know that the name of this was Global Super Connector. This is a title that I just gave myself, actually, that people gave me like about 7 years ago, 6, 7 years ago. Yes. But already when I was a child, I had lots and lots of pen pals all over the world. Every afternoon, I think, I was writing about 4 to 5 to 6 letters to people all over the world. And that was every day. And my parents were kind of scared, because can you imagine how much money they spent on stamps, because these letters will really go into different continents all over the world, right? So that was quite an expense back in the days, especially because then I wanted to write my letters in the right way also, with proper letter paper and proper envelopes and so on. So I remember that basically every 2 to 3 weeks, I was going to what was called the dedicated shop to buy all of the latest, papers and letters and envelopes. And I was looking for stamps that were particularly outstanding as well, maybe, limited editions and so on. And I was writing these letters to all of these people in different languages. And I remember every time I got back from school in the early afternoon, the first thing that I would do, even if I was hungry, I was starving, I was tired, whatever, I went to the post box to see if I got any letters. And every day I was getting so many letters. Maybe some days I only got one and I was very, very sad, but sometimes I would even get 7 or 8 letters, right? So that was, I would say, let's say the ancestor of WhatsApp.
Yes, because I think what's so outstanding is because that was in times, there were probably no email or it was not so popular, and texting or WhatsApping, as you already said, it was not available. So you really had to sit down and write the letter. Yeah.
God, yes, so much time writing letters. But that was amazing because I was, discovering the world through all of these people all over the world. I loved it. I lived for it.
But, in which language did you write with all these people, or when did you really start by writing in English? And
I was writing in English and Italian, and then I started studying French when I was 14. So maybe I did a little bit of French as well, but I never really liked it. I never really resonated with the French language, to be honest. I used to work in French as well at Peugeot, but I mean, at the moment I finished with Peugeot, I, went to other languages and other companies, And then I think I studied a little bit in German as well. So I just studied German when I was 16. But then in the meantime already, of course, there were emails. I think when emails came, I was about 16, 17, right? So then I think that in German, I pretty much wrote only digitally. Yeah. Yes, but in other languages, Italian and English especially, that really allowed me already when I was just a child to really communicate with people all over the world. And we would go on holiday, usually to Sardinia in Italy, to this Italian island. And I would meet people there as well, especially Italians, and then I would stay in touch with them as well. So it was great because then sometimes I would visit them also, I don't know, in Sicily or in other parts of Italy. So it was great because a little bit of traveling was involved. So it was like my first, let's say, attempt at jet setting.
Okay. Yeah, but, and how did you kind of, as you said, you need to have a lot, put a lot of time to, also communicate, and to keep your relationships, lively. And so how do you manage that? Because, I think most people are so busy. It's very difficult to even keep track with your friends around, despite, then checking out all the social media. It's so time consuming. So how do you manage that?
Well, certainly time management and organization and so on helps. And it's certainly something that I use, of course, because I'm a Virgo. I love organizations. I love routines. But at the same time, I think that really the key to all of this was the enthusiasm that I had. And this enthusiasm came from the fact that, being connected was and still is one of my core values. I think this is all that matters at the end, because if something is really part of your values, then you will make it happen.
Yeah, that's true. But still, do you have kind of a trick how you stay connected and on track?
Yeah, I have to say, okay, so when I was still living in Italy, I was still very connected. And then I stayed connected also when I was moving from country to country 20 years ago when I was at university, to be honest. And I saw that a lot of people were losing touch with their friends at home in their home country. But I managed to. And to me, it was pretty natural. And then when I was jet setting as well, that this is where I brought this adventure to another level, and I could stay in touch with even more people. And now today, my latest hack, I go back to the hacks from the past, but I would like to say now that my latest hack from this year is actually to outsource part of my networking efforts. Also because business is involved now. It's business mixed with networking. So it's a different kind of vibe. So I have a relationship manager now that has been helping me multiple times. Like she saves my lives my life every single day, and she deals with a lot of people. So usually I talk about content with people, but everything that is around logistics. So when am I going to have a call with somebody, and all of the technicalities, the Zoom links and so on, she takes care of all of that. I just check my calendar and I see, okay, I have a call with this person, this person, this person today. I'm just going to show up and talk about content. So that helps, definitely helps. But back in the days, I would say maybe something that really helped me was the fact that I was allocating time for that, right? So every single day I had time that was allocated for that. Maybe, I'm a fan of routines. So I always like doing the same thing at the same time, maybe the same day of the week, or maybe every day. But sometimes it doesn't always work. So maybe every day looks different for you, but then when you have a look at the plan for the day or the plan for the week, then you can make sure that you have a little bit of time, maybe even just half an hour allocated, to responding to messaging and reaching out to people spontaneously as well. Because that what happens is often is that people get caught up responding to messages, right? Inbound messages, whereas we also have to make sure that we do outbound communications as well. And this is why people then, they forget to, I don't know, follow up with people, or to, let's say, touch base with people spontaneously. So I think that both things need really to find their space in everybody's calendar. So it's a matter of prioritization. And if it's a value for you, I'm going back to the values, but if it's value for you, if it's something that gives you joy, because values are something that are important to us, give us joy and energy, as you would say, Cornelia, right? Exactly. Then you will prioritize it. And then when you look at your calendar, the planning for next week, for example, you will make sure that this priority always finds space every single day in your day, regardless of what your day looks like that particular day, I would say.
Oh, that's very helpful. Yeah, it's always kind of priorities. Yeah, but when it comes to priorities, do you have like different priorities? Of course, you have. How do you manage? Like, do you manage, or let's put it this way: do you manage like your relationships for business in a different way than the ones for your private life?
They're all mixed, and this is what I love. So I make business with friends, and I become friends with people I've done business with. Yeah, this is so much fun. And I would say maybe if a relationship is a little bit more formal, then of course it will be my relationship manager that will take care of it. But actually, I have to say my relationship manager also takes care of, my meetings and so on with friends, to be honest. So this is what it is today. But in the past, let's say when I worked at companies, it was always easy because I was taking care of, business relationships during working hours, and then my own relationships outside of working hours. So that helped, like this distinction. But now, as an entrepreneur, you're working all the time, right? So, I mean, your business, I don't think there's any such a thing as work-life balance. Maybe there's work-life integration, right? Work-life harmony, I would say. But if you're an entrepreneur, I mean, and especially if you're a personal brand, like you are the face of your company. You're always on, you're always working, I would say. Do you feel the same?
Yes, I realize it's more intermingling, and I think like the most important denominator for me is if I enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
And and if you really enjoy it, then it doesn't matter if I do it like for my corporate job or for my own brand, because it gives me energy, and I like doing it. So that's I think that's for me. And of course, especially in the corporate world, there are all the things you have to do you don't really enjoy, and also when you're working as an entrepreneur. But it's always about the percentage, right? How much do I really enjoy, and how much I don't like, and this should be not balanced. The liking part should definitely be much higher than the don't liking part.
You're so right, and that's why, to be honest, it helps to be an extrovert. Like, for example, I get energy when I'm around people, but some people, like introverts, don't get energy. Actually, they get drained. Their energy gets drained when they're around people, and then they need time on their own in order to let's say, to recover or refill that cup, right? So I think I'm not saying that introverts can't be networkers or even super connectors for that matter, but certainly they probably need more of your support, Cornelia. So you could actually help introverts who want to be super connectors, or introverts that want to be networkers, at least, right? To really make sure that then after they've had these human interactions, that they then find ways in order to refill that cup, refill the energy. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's I would even do like free super connecting work to make sure that they protect their energy before they go out. So then they are not their energy is not drained at all. So it's kind of, then they can enjoy it more and see it's not that difficult to be, go outside, because you keep your energy with yourself. And as you pointed out, maybe it's just that it drains your energy, and that's why they avoid it.
That is so true. Oh my God, you have to come on the show, on the personal PR show again. I know you were there yesterday, but you have to come again because we need to talk about this.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Yeah. Here, could I share some, protection energy hacks? Yeah.
I'm writing it down. Yeah. Guys.
Okay, yeah.
What happens when we talk with Cornelia? I mean, you know it yourself because you follow her already, but every time Cornelia and I speak, we get new ideas and then we have to implement them, of course. Oh my God, you're so lucky to be following Cornelia, because I mean, you always get the latest energy hacks. And I think, Cornelia, every day you have new energy hacks that are coming up, right? That maybe you didn't have in mind a week ago.
Yes, they just appear. Yeah. And it's a good point. So today I can make an energy hack about how to keep your energy with you when you're an introvert.
Pardon? When you are?
When you're introvert.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Love this.
And, just keeping going on this discussion, how do you kind of start the network?
Ooh.
Because it's always difficult to get started, right? And then, of course, then the next step is, how do I organize and coordinate it? But how do I get started? I want to have or set up a community,
Yeah. Okay. So network and community are two different things, right? And I love them both. But to be honest, I love communities. Don't get me wrong. I love them, but I prefer network. Because to me, the communities sometimes get a little bit, let's say, boring, because let's say you build your community, you have a lot of people in your network, and then you bring them all in a community. Why? Because they have something in common, right? So after a while, the first times are quite exciting, and then they're quite exciting because you're bringing all of these people together that didn't know each other, right? And then they get to know each other, some time passes, and then of course they build relationships and so on. And then you're like, okay, what can I do now? So you have only one way, one choice, which is, for it to stay interesting for you, is that you keep expanding the community, I would say, because otherwise it tends to get boring, at least to me, right? So I love routines on one side, but on the other side, I need novelty all the time. I need a good balance of both. So, but maybe some people don't get bored. So maybe they're fine with always the same number, of people in the community. I don't know. But what really excites me is networking. So basically, it's like a looser structure. There's still a structure, of course. Everybody has in mind the structure of a network, but at the same time, it's not a certain amount of people. It's not that everybody knows each other. And I see many more opportunities there, because then you see that a lot of people in your network are not connected with one another. So as a global super connector, or even just a super connector for that matter, you see a lot of opportunities, right? And you're like, okay, I can connect this people with this person, this person with this person, this person with this person, whereas it doesn't happen in a community, because they are already all connected theoretically, right? That's why. So this is, to me, like the difference between a community and a network. And this is my personal preference when it comes to both. But then to answer your question about networking, how you start to network, is that maybe two things are occurring to me. The first one is just say yes. If you get invited to something, it could be online, offline. If you get invited by somebody who knows, if you get invited even by a stranger, just say yes. For a certain period of time, let's say a quarter, just say yes to many things, to as many things as possible. in the meantime, don't just say yes for incoming, like inbound opportunities, but also go and look for, opportunities. So do some outbound efforts as well, and see and go and explore. Maybe, I mean, these days it's so easy. There is Meetup. There are so many communities on Facebook. There's so many possibilities, right? There's internations. And then, you just go to these parties, events, and so on. And then you are the one who actually invites people to something, right? So you invite somebody for coffee, then you invite, then you can just, it's so simple. Like you go to a certain event, you meet 3 people, you invite them for coffee afterwards. So you go for them. So you already have established the relationship, right? And then like 2 weeks later, you take these 3 people and you put them together, you go for coffee with the 4 of them, right? And then maybe you have a weekly thing or a bi-monthly thing where every Tuesday at 6, for example, you meet up in town and you bring all of these people. And then of course you're networking all the time with other people, and then you just invite them to your social every 2 weeks, once a month, I don't know, once a week for that matter in the beginning. Like it's just, leveraging what you have, of course. So you can even just know 5 people, right? And you can already build so much with that. You can bring them together. You can connect them bilaterally. You can do an event. And then one of the things that you can do is just, maybe you just know 5 people. You invite them to your social, and then you ask every single one of them to bring a +1, right? And then you have 10 people at your event. And then everybody who has to come every week, they're welcome to come. Anybody can come to your social, but they always have to bring a +1. Can you imagine? This is going to grow exponentially, kind of exponentially. Like in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, oh my God, you have 20, I don't know how many people, 30, 40 people at your event, right? So it's so easy at the beginning. And you will notice you don't have to do this for more. I mean, you can do this forever if you like it. I do this forever, of course. But for people who can't be bothered, I'd say you do this for, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 months. And then you will see that the snowball effect will start. The snowball effect is a phenomenon that we see in network, we see in public relations, we see in social media, and probably in other, fields as well. And it just means, just like you can picture a snowball, going downhill, rolling downhill, right? So as it rolls down, it gathers snow around it. More snow, more snow, which means that the ball becomes bigger and bigger, right? And it goes faster as well, right? So this is exactly what happens. You just need that activation energy in the beginning, activation energy, right? You do this efforts a little bit in the beginning, and then it goes on itself, and it not only keeps going by itself, but also becomes bigger, and it goes and travels faster. So this is really, really fascinating what happens in this case with networking. That's the answer to the question. Would you like to know more? I just giving, some ideas left and right, for how to start a network. But I think this is enough for the beginning. Of course, there are more advanced techniques and approaches, of course. But I would say that if your viewers, Cornelia, can already put in place these little hacks, things are going to change in a matter of a week in their social life.
Wow, this is really amazing. Thank you so much for sharing, JFab. And, I was just wondering, because when you're connecting people with each other, I've seen it, various times. And what I really, admire in a way that you always kind of see what people have in common. And then you connect them. And I think that this is really kind of an outstanding skill. You just talk to somebody for like 2 minutes, and then you say, you should definitely meet this person. And that's and then as you said, then you just connect this person, and because they have like this common denominator, they can start there to exchange, and then they're up to them what evolves from from this connection.
Exactly. Yeah. Then they can just take it from there. Absolutely.
And, so for you would also recommend in a way that of course, you're a very good listener. So you always, and you kind of store it somewhere in your super brain. That like, this person has this background, is doing this. And then, all of a sudden when you're talking to somebody else, it just pops up your mind, and then you just connect. So I think this is amazing. But it takes also some effort to really listen what people are talking to you. Telling you.
I think we need to be interested in people, right? So, and it goes back to the values and what we enjoy and what gives us energy. To me, I don't even have to make an effort. Like I'm naturally interested in people and I naturally ask questions, right? So, so yes, I would recommend. So if it doesn't really come to you naturally, maybe do a little effort, like with the activation energy that we talked about in the beginning. So just, try to be interested in people, and then you will see, because people are actually cool stories to tell, especially if you ask the right questions, right? So it's an art. Asking the right question is an art as well. And then probably you will see, maybe you won't find every single person interesting, but a lot of people you will certainly find interesting. And to me, I remember in my first years of networking, I was like, I was interested in everybody, but some people, to be honest, were not as interesting as other people. Like some people could have been considered boring also, even by me. They wouldn't talk. They would talk about the same stuff all the time. And then I took it as a challenge. And I was like, because I really want to become like a pro at this stuff, human interaction and so on. So I was like, oh, I want more of these people. And I want to make them talk. And I learned the art of asking the right questions. Like a few minutes later, by asking the right questions, these people opened up. And then I learned so many cool things about them or about their area of expertise that really enriched me, right? So we can take it as a challenge, as opposed to say, oh my God, and I'm yet to spend, another 15 minutes with this person before the end of the coffee meeting, right? It's an opportunity for us to become pros at human interaction, human dynamics.
Yeah. And we all, human beings, and we all connected. Yeah. So, but you mentioned that the art of asking the right questions. You have some advice here as well. How do I ask the right questions?
Exactly. Okay. So the right questions are something that I would say, first of all, something that gets them going, then that lights them up. So something that, for example, they are passionate about, I would say. So you can ask straight away, or maybe it just comes from the discussion, something that they are, passionate about. But I would say try to find that first. And then once they do, then they will really get excited talking about what they love. And of course, this way you will build rapport and they will feel seen. And because people don't actually remember facts about you, what you do for a living, where you come from, and so on. Maybe they remember as well, but what they remember first is actually how you made them feel, how they felt in that particular interaction. So for example, if you have them talk about what they love, then of course they will feel good about it, right? So some people love talking about their job. Some people like talking about hobbies and passions that they have. Some people just like talking about their kids or their cats or pets or whatever. Like if people ask me about my kittens, then I'm very, very happy to talk about them, of course. And especially if they already knew me and then they haven't talked to me in a while and they reach out to me and they ask me how I'm doing and how my kittens are doing, then of course that flatters me. And the conversation, is pleasant and has great energy, as you would say, from the very beginning, right? So this is a question usually that opens up people and makes them feel good. And then another thing that I always recommend is actually to make sure to really find out what somebody needs and what they want, right? And this, to me, is like one of the best ways to find out how we can help people. Because in networking and in human interactions, I'm always for reciprocity. So how we can give first, right? So a lot of people give first just to get back. Like they hacked the thing. They understand that they shouldn't be takers and should go out and network and just ask for things, right? So they realize that actually they should give before they should expect anything. And that is already better than just being a taker. But to me, we need to go a step further, which means we just give because we like people. And then if something comes back, then that's great, right? It's great. So this is a philosophy that I recommend to everybody. But in any case, we want to give first, right? And how do we give first? How do we know what to give? How do we know how we can give something that is relevant and useful for the person? We need to know two things. We need to know what they need. So maybe what kind of problem they have at the moment, what is it that they would like to reach, and then we'll know more or less what they need and we can offer it to them. We don't have to offer it to them directly. We can even connect them with somebody else who has that particular thing, right? That particular expertise, for example, right? So this is an opportunity for us to connect, because we should connect, so many people every single day with one another. This is how you create scale in networking, and you create a reputation for a super connector or a global super connector. So first of all, what they need, and then afterwards what they want. Maybe there's something that they don't really need, that they can survive without, but they have this ambition. So it's important for us to actually understand what the dreams of a certain person is, right? The dreams, the ambitions. And then maybe we'll have, something to contribute there as well. Maybe a certain connection, maybe, I don't know, an article that we read. It could be anything, right? But if we really have these two things in mind, then of course we can add a lot of value to people. And if we add the information about what they're passionate about, right? What they love doing, what they love, I don't know, exploring, then of course, that is the cherry on the cake. And then we can add even more value to them.
Wow. This is really so powerful, and you're so right. It's to ask people for their dreams and or discuss them. It's a very powerful tool. Yeah, because nobody usually asks for that.
Exactly. Yes. And it's not that we meet somebody new and then we say, okay, what do you need? What do you want? What is your dream? Or what are you passionate about? We do it in a seamless way. We don't want to make it obvious, of course, because otherwise it feels like very fake and transactional, which is even worse than fake sometimes, right? No, we don't want to do that. It needs to flow. It needs to be seamless, and smooth and so on, right? So also, something that I've noticed is that a lot of people get that it's great to ask questions to people, and then they start asking questions, but then it seems like an interview, right? Or even let's say, I don't know, a conversation with the police. They're just, asking questions all the time, or with a lawyer, and then you feel intimidated, right? No, so we want to ask questions, of course, but then we want to share about ourselves as well. It needs to feel balanced, because otherwise people will feel, oh, okay, there's a fine line between people feeling flattered because you're asking them a lot of questions about them, and on the other side, people feeling intimidated because you're not sharing anything about yourself, right? So we need to be careful with that. It's a balancing act during the conversation. It's a dance.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And speaking about your abilities and also skills, how you set up your network. So can you share a story with us? What happened in your network, or evolved from your network without, that wouldn't have been possible without your network, just for your personal development or
for my personal development. Thank you so much for this question. I love it. Well, I have to say that in my network, especially over the past few years, I do have a lot of coaches, consultants, healers, and so on. And of course, that is great because I have relationships with them. And then if something bad, like a few weeks ago, everything was going wrong. And I was like, it can't be a coincidence anymore. I have 5 disasters every single day for 4 or 5 days in a row. It can't be a coincidence anymore. And I remember reaching out to you, Cornelia. Right?
Yes, I remember too. Yeah.
Right, because you're part of my network. We have this relationship, which is beautiful, and there's an open channel between the two of us, right? So I just felt, free to just connect with you and tell you what was going on. And then you looked into my energy and you were like, yes, as a matter of fact, that is something that is off, right? Exactly. So this is something that has happened recently. But another story that I could tell is that, I don't know, for especially when I was jet setting all the time, constantly jet lagged, guys, all over the world, every continent. And I could do 5 continents in 2 weeks, just so you know. Crazy stuff. I don't know how I managed to, but anyway, I got invited to the most exclusive events, and I met crazy people. I just, from one day to another, not even from 1 hour to another. I was in Sydney. I just find myself on a private yacht in the Sydney Harbour, for example.
Wow.
Like this kind of stuff, just because friends are friends. And I was there drinking champagne, which I don't even drink, but everybody was drinking champagne, eating sushi. At that time, I wasn't vegan yet, unfortunately. And like on this super luxurious thing with, you know, super cool people. And by the way, the friend that brought me there could only stay 1 hour there. So I spent the rest of the day with all of these cool entrepreneurs from Sydney and on the private yacht and so on. So these are crazy stuff that happen, especially when you're constantly traveling. Yes, this is like a cool story. I don't know, like funny story to tell. But yeah, but many things happened. You mean like episodes in which I got some benefit, right? Or not that I creating value and opportunities for other people is something I do daily. But your question was maybe rather about me, what I benefit.
Yes, it was about your network. And so in a way, the two main points, it's an exchange when you're in a network. So you're giving and receiving, and that's kind of also deepens the relationships and also your network, and that you know you can rely on these people. And on the other side, as you said, if you're part of your network, it opens up continuously to other opportunities and new people you wouldn't have met without, because you were not even aware of it. So in a way, it's going in both directions.
Yes. I mean, to me, networking, to be honest, is like quantum leaping, because you just need to meet somebody and your life can completely change. Your business, your life, whatever, can completely change from 1 minute to the other one. And this is so cool when you are a super connector, because you know this stuff, you know how much value you can generate in only 10 seconds. It takes me 10 seconds to make an introduction. I just need to, I don't know, Facebook Messenger, create a thread with these two people, and then maybe just write one word of the thing that they have in common, or maybe send an audio note of 7 seconds, right? So altogether, it takes me 10 to 15 seconds to make an introduction. But this introduction has the potential to really change these people's lives. So to me, it's like, I don't know, it's like, yeah, let's call it a quantum leap, a quantum jump. I don't know how to call it. Like, it's crazy. Things can change completely from one moment until the other one.
Yeah, you're creating new possibilities. Yeah. Yes. For others, and then of course, and then it's up to them if they jump on this possibility or go down this route, or go down a different route. But it's everybody can decide on his or her own
yes
decision. But I love the point what you said, because from my point of view, the quantum field indeed has unlimited possibilities, and you just with this connection, you're just creating one that hasn't been there before, or it was there but it was not being seen before, and you just make it visible, and it has the possibility to change their life. And wow, that's a great development. So
Thank you. When I started 10 years ago, I was like, oh my God, I want to make 15 connections every single day. If you do that, even if you make only 3 connections a day for a month, you will see people's lives are going to change. Your life is going to change. Your reputation is going to skyrocket. Oh my God. Yes.
Wow. This is really good. So, if people want to connect with you, your Facebook group is open. So then I definitely I share the link in the show notes, and also they can watch your videos on your show, the Personal PR Show, and I've heard that you're starting a new kind of network, the JFab Social. Is this open as well, or how can people connect there with you?
Okay, so JFab Social is actually a meta group, so to say, because I bring together a few of my communities, I think 65 communities, and that I built through the years. And I'm like, I want them to actually meet one another, right? Even if there are no commonalities, rather than just knowing me, right? Maybe they have nothing in common, but sometimes these are the best connections. Like, I really believe in connections that have, where the connector sees synergies, but I also believe in random connections. Like, some of the best things to have happened to me on a random basis. Like I met somebody in the supermarket and I made friends with them, right? So this kind of stuff. So I want that to happen as well. And I'm bringing all of these communities together in a monthly gathering that is called JFab Social, right? So it's a mixer, social and business mixer as well for people that are in business, especially, but yeah, it could be for other people as well that work at corporates. And at the moment, I don't know, it's not really open because it's only me bringing these connections together. But Cornelia, you are always so full of ideas that I might seriously consider this option. Thank you so much.
Yeah, let's get it started, and then you can always open it up and connect even more people with each other. Yeah, so like kind of pull them in your energy field.
Exactly. So guys, if you're interested, feel free to reach out to me or to Cornelia, and then we'll let you know the next date of the JFab Social, which happens, as mentioned, once a month. Thank you, Cornelia. See, you're networking strategist, community builder, and networking strategist as well.
Yeah, I'm, learning from this super connector, right?
You learn a lot.
Yeah, there's so many things and opportunities out there. Yeah, so it's fascinating.
And the thing is, what I realized 10 years ago, which really fascinated me, and I'm like, I want to dedicate my life to this, is not just that, oh, the opportunities are out there and you go and seize them. No, it goes a step further. You can, like, the opportunities can be created by you. That's the thing. You can constantly create opportunities just by bringing people together or connecting with the right people, or even for that matter, even with random people. You can, like, it's in your power. This gives us really a sense of agency that we can really create stuff.
Yes, I think that's so powerful that you can create so many things on your own, and it gives you also lots of energy and also a certain power. And I think this is so important. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's really empowering. It's an empowering approach, definitely. Thank you for this angle.
So JFab, my last question, I know your last question on your show, but or my last question on my show is always, what gives you energy?
What gives me energy? That's a great question. And what gives me energy are usually interactions. So human interactions or interactions with pets and animals in general. That's why I'm always surrounded by my little kittens. That's why I want to work from home and spend, basically the whole day with them. They give me so much energy. And most of the times when I'm having calls, I have, for example, here on my lap, I have Bilou. And then sometimes I have energy healing sessions, and the therapists are like, oh my God, I can really feel her presence of Bilou as well. She wants to be in your field while you're being healed. Yes. So all of this all together, like all of this other life energy, third party life energy from pets, from humans, and so on. This is really what keeps me going. If I don't talk to anyone for a whole day, or even half a day for that matter, oh my God, I get depressed.
And if there is something I can't imagine, but in everybody's life there are some moments you have low energy. But what are you doing then? Like really kind of when you want to boost your energy, you have a hack here as well. Yes.
Great question. I talked to somebody, because usually, for example, a lot of times before my interviews, I have interviews every single day, right? Especially on a personal PR show. And, a few minutes before the interviews or before my mastermind sessions or whatever, the accelerator that I'm giving, then I'm like, oh, I can't be bothered. To be honest, I can't be bothered. And that's why I'm always late, 1 or 2 or 3 minutes late for every single call. And but then 5 minutes later, I already get going. And then at the end of the conversation, I don't want to finish anymore. And then after the conversation, I'm super energized, right? And I'm ready for the next thing. So definitely, if you guys want to, I don't know, try it out, maybe you're feeling low energy, just talk to somebody. And these days, I know it's not the days anymore in which we just call somebody. Like, for example, I hate it when somebody calls me spontaneously, to be honest. It's like, no, let's put in the calendar. Or if you need me urgently, text me instead, or send me an audio note on WhatsApp. No, just call me. I don't even notice when people call me, to be honest, because my phone is always silent. Anyway, it's been silent for 8 years. And but maybe, I don't know, maybe just send a message, an audio note to somebody, or listen to a previous audio notes that you have. And certainly, guys, probably very busy. So probably you have messages in your WhatsApp that you haven't listened to yet. Maybe that is an opportunity, to listen to them and then get some energy from you listening to them and from you responding to them as well. I would say that is something that usually, picks me up.
Wow, that's a great energy hack, yeah. Because and it brings us back to where we started. It's all about our relationships, and we definitely need to invest some energy in there, and then we get much more energy out of it. And so it's kind of a perpetuum mobile, right?
Exactly. Yes. And it's so cool because you give energy to people give energy to you. I mean, it's a constant exchange, which is beautiful. There's so much reciprocity involved.
Wow, that's a great line to let our audience go and to experiment with all the advice and also the energy hacks you pointed out, and to really get started, because listening to it is one thing, but actually doing it and implementing it is another thing, and the real magic only happens if you just start doing it. So as JFab just pointed out, just call somebody or connect people with each other, and do it on a daily basis. And even if it's just one contact you're creating, and it will definitely change many things. My network has changed the last year dramatically, and also thanks to you, and not only your advice, but you also opened up your network, and that's really amazing. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Because I always say, like, behind every person, because a lot of times we think that people are not interesting, and maybe, and I don't agree anyway, but maybe, if you have a certain goal, especially if you're doing strategic networking, you're right. Okay, but for that particular goal that I have, that person is not that relevant. But let's always remember that that person has a whole network behind them. So let's not just snob them, but maybe let's explore still what we can do for one another, because certainly they have, everybody's got like a diverse network, right? So very probably they will have somebody they can connect you with, right? And maybe somebody will connect you to somebody else. Oh my God, it can go on in chains and chains and chains. But I don't know why I'm talking about this, because I can't remember anymore what you wanted to say, what you said, Cornelia.
Just to get started. The main point was to get started. So let's connect.
Yeah, let's get started today. So maybe you can think about, 3 people that you want to call today.
Yeah, or send them WhatsApp or voice message.
Yes, that's what I meant. Yes, because I don't. Yes. That's true.
Thank you so much, JFab, for spending your advice and your super network with us, let's really get started. And would be great if you could share, the video with how many people you connected the first day and the second day. So please share, let us know. We definitely are interested, and so reach out to us.
Oh, definitely. I'm gonna keep an eye on you.
Yeah, energy on, and